So just about to enter the region of Talas. So this little town I've come to, it was a town built again for people who were constructing a nearby dam. I visited 2 or 3 of such places. In fact, I stayed in one place for quite a while, didn't I? Karakul 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that was really cool. Such places can be very interesting because they're kind of like a throwback to the 60s or 70s. Things have changed very little in such places. This looks like it would once upon a time have been the local cinema. It's kind of closed off. So we didn't make it into the cinema, but there's another building here. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe if you have a peek inside, that'll give some clues. And it seems accessible this time. Nice big open gap there for us. Straight away I've got a clue. There's a number on the door. So could this have been a little hotel? I think it could be, you know. Wow, a small, because yeah, that looks like a toilet, and then this looks like a very small single room. Seems an awful lot of glass was used in this hotel, judging by the glass everywhere. And this is clearly an opportunity not to be missed. So I made it on the roof, as you can see. Problem is it's not very high, it's only 3 stories high, so we're actually lower than the trees, so actually nothing really to see. The thing I'm hoping to see, it's not marked on maps and it's not particularly accessible either. So the thing I want to see is somewhere near the huge reservoir. Now that's about 10% of the reservoir you can see. It carries on behind there for an awful lot further. It's huge. I just asked a couple of lads and it seems it's about 30 kilometers the other side, so no way I'll be able to get there by foot. Problem is, if it is 25 to 30 kilometers away like the lads suggested, to get there and back we're obviously looking at 50-60 kilometers. And okay, taxis are cheap. I mean, it'd be a bit of a waste of money, but that's not the major thing. The major thing's the time. It's already mid-afternoon now and I don't want to miss the last minibus back to the regional capital, which probably won't go that late. And besides, I haven't even seen half the town yet, so unfortunately on this occasion I guess we don't get to see the cool thing, but we can save ourselves time and trouble, and in my case money, by just looking on Google Images.